The sound of sirens echoed down Maple Avenue, cutting through the quiet of a suburban Texas neighborhood. Red and blue lights painted the walls of the neat brick homes as stunned residents gathered outside. Police officers swarmed a modest single-story house. Inside, on the living room carpet, lay the body of 37-year-old Daniel Harris, stabbed multiple times. Standing over him, trembling and covered in blood, was his wife of 10 years, Jessica Harris, clutching a kitchen knife. When the first officer asked what happened, Jessica whispered, "He was in our neighbor's bed when he should have been at work." That night, Jessica Harris was arrested for the murder of her husband. But as the investigation unfolded, the story revealed secrets no one could have imagined. Secrets that shattered not just a marriage, but an entire neighborhood's trust. 5 years earlier, Jessica and Daniel seemed like the perfect couple. She was a school teacher, beloved by her students. He worked as an IT specialist at a local hospital. Together, they were raising 2 young children in the quiet suburb of Springdale. Neighbors described them as picture-perfect. Summer barbecues, Sunday church, and family bike rides. They were the kind of couple you'd envy, recalled Linda Price. Jessica always smiling, Daniel always helping people fix their computers. They looked happy. But beneath that picture-perfect exterior, cracks had begun to form. 2 years before the murder, Jessica noticed subtle changes in Daniel. He claimed to be working late more often. He guarded his phone like a secret, taking it everywhere, even the shower. At first, Jessica dismissed it. Maybe it was stress from work, maybe overtime. But the late nights turned into whole weekends on call. "I trusted him completely," Jessica would later tell detectives. "I never thought he'd do this to us." It was a Tuesday in April. Jessica was home grading papers when Daniel texted that he had to stay late at the hospital. She sighed but didn't think much of it. Later that night, scrolling through her phone, she noticed something odd. Daniel's location popped up on their shared family app. But he wasn't at the hospital. He was just 3 houses away, in their neighbor Melissa Carter's home. At first, Jessica thought it was a glitch. Why would her husband be at Melissa's? Melissa was a newly divorced single mom in her early 30s, friendly but private. Jessica stared at the screen in disbelief, and then she walked out the door. When Jessica entered Melissa's house unannounced, the truth hit her harder than she ever imagined. There, in Melissa's bedroom, she found Daniel, her husband, lying in bed, shirtless, laughing, and holding a wine glass. Melissa was right beside him. "It was like my world shattered in 1 second," Jessica later said. "Everything I thought I knew about him, about us, was a lie." What followed was chaos. Shouting, accusations, Daniel scrambling to explain, Melissa insisting Jessica leave. Jessica stormed out, her heart racing, her mind spinning. For 3 days, Jessica stayed silent. She dropped the kids at her mother's, ignoring Daniel's constant calls and texts. He begged her to forgive him, claiming it was a mistake. But then came the discovery that pushed Jessica past her breaking point. Through messages on Daniel's tablet, Jessica uncovered that this wasn't a one-time betrayal. Daniel and Melissa had been having an affair for over a year. He had spent holidays sneaking into Melissa's house, birthdays, even nights when Jessica thought he was working late. Melissa wasn't just a fling. Daniel was planning a future with her. On April 14th, Jessica returned home to confront Daniel. She wanted answers, closure, something. But when she asked him why betray her, why humiliate her with their own neighbor, Daniel smirked. "She was what I needed, Jessica," he said coldly. You stopped being enough a long time ago. Something inside Jessica snapped. She walked to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and plunged it into Daniel's chest, again and again. By the time police arrived, called by Melissa, who heard the screams from her porch, it was too late. Daniel Harris was dead. Jessica Harris was charged with second-degree murder. In court, her defense argued extreme emotional distress, betrayed not just by her husband, but in the most humiliating way possible, with their own neighbor under everyone's nose. Neighbors filled the courtroom every day. Some sympathized with Jessica, calling her a devoted mother pushed to her breaking point. Others condemned her, insisting betrayal could never justify taking a life. After weeks of testimony, Jessica was convicted of voluntary manslaughter. The judge acknowledged her profound emotional trauma, but reminded the court that murder cannot be excused. She was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Melissa Carter moved away within weeks of the trial. The house where the affair happened now sits vacant, a haunting reminder of how one secret destroyed 2 families. Jessica's children are being raised by her parents, who bring them to visit her in prison every month. And in Springdale, people still whisper about that night. The night Jessica Harris discovered her husband wasn't at work, but in their neighbor's bed. A discovery that turned love into rage and a home into a crime scene.